Welcome to the Big Biz Show, featuring insight, analysis, and a lot of stuff that's none of your business.
Hold on. This is the Big Biz Show. I think it is their business.
Making the markets work for you. Here's the man with the plan, Sully.
Well, here we are, live from the Jump Studios. Well, I haven't done that in a long time. The Big Biz Show is on here. So the explanation there is the original studios are called Jump Television Studios.
Kicking it old school.
You know why they're called Jump Television Studios?
No.
I used to own, as a side business with another partner, I invested in a boxing business, and it was called Jump Elite Fitness.
Ew.
Went out of business. He wanted to go on his own, so I mentored him on his own. I have this empty building. I called it Jump Television Studios, and that was the original studio. There you go. Look who's here. Howie Font is here, the brains of the business.
Hello, hello.
You know,
everybody.
Like the blue
Howie.
So what's going on? What's going on in the world of business? We have not talked about the world of business for a while now, and in terms of markets seem to be rallying back.
Can I give you a fun story?
Yes.
I would love a fun story.
Now, we talk a lot about shorts, borrowing stock, betting against it effectively.
So basically, yeah. So there was also, like I like to say, equities are the only asset you can sell before you own.
Yep.
Can't sell your house before you own it. Can't sell your stock. Basically, you I'm going to sell it here and buy it back here. Keep the difference. That's a very rudimentary way to think about it.
You talk about it all the time. It's in the news in a big way because
Because it's abused.
well, we have two poster childs right now. It was big in 2020 during the pandemic. Game Stop and AMC.
Yeah.
They're
Oh, meme
back in
stocks.
the news. The meme stocks were being shorted again, and they are now rallying huge. Guess how much short sellers are losing between AMC
Now,
and
let me tell-
GameStop in the last 2 days?
How
I can't
much?
wait to
Give me
hear
the
this.
over/under.
I can't wait to hear this.
50 billion.
4 billion. Shorts
I knew
have
the number.
shorts,
I knew the answer.
Shorts have lost 4 billion
Now, let me tell you.
in
Let me
2
tell,
days.
let me tell you what that
Yep.
means. Let me tell you what that means.
Please.
This
They
is,
gotta cover.
Wait. This is
Yeah.
why they didn't. They had to cover.
Yeah.
So this is why shorting is so risky. If you buy a stock, one share of stock for $100, what's the most money you could lose?
$100.
$100. If you borrow a share at $100, okay, and hope it's going to go down to 80, and then keep the 20, okay, what is the most you can lose? Infinity.
Everything.
Yep.
Because what if it goes from 100 to 10 million?
Yep.
You got to buy the share back, right? So here's how it works. I'm going to borrow the share from the broker and sell it the same day.
Okay.
Now I owe the share back to the broker in a couple days, so I got my money. So I borrowed the share. I sold it for $100. I'm hoping. How about this? Let's take this. I'm going to take that Volkswagen parked on the corner there, that red Volkswagen, plain vanilla Volkswagen, and I'm going to sell it. It doesn't belong to me, but I'm selling it. Hey, this is for sale here. $10,000. I know the guy's on vacation for a couple days. I go out and look for a red Volkswagen. I buy it for $5,000. Put it right in its place. I keep the 5, right?
Okay.
Now, what happens though if I go out to look for the red Volkswagen and there's never been another red Volkswagen in the history of Volkswagens, and I can't do it? Now suddenly the value of the Volkswagen goes up through the roof. Now I got to pay the difference to get the thing back with it before I get arrested.
Yeah.
Same thing with the stocks goes that I'm going to borrow the share, I'm going to sell the shares, hope to buy back at a lower price. But what if it goes up? You got to buy it back at a higher price. I sold the share at 100. I owe the broker the share back, but now it's worth 300. Oh my God! I just lost $200. How much money?
$4 billion.
$4 billion
in
was
48
lost.
hours. Well, not 48 hours. 2 days. 2 trading sessions.
Yeah, it's 16 hours.
Yeah.
16
So
hours.
go back real quick on the short. Do you have 2 days? You have 3 days?
So,
What is it, 4 days?
T plus 2. So what that means is, hang on a second, T plus 2 is a typical transaction for when you buy a stock, when you can get. So if you sell a stock, and you can get your money back in 2 days. Used to be T plus 3. Shorts is a little different story.
Short's a little different story because, as you know very well, broker-dealers themselves have a much longer period.
20 trading days.
But PSA to the world, May 28th, NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange going to T plus 1 for the first time.
Yeah.
Most equities.
So what happens is
Really?
you sell a share of stock, you get your money the next day.
Wow.
That's because it's
revolutionary,
digital. But the moral of the story here is, look, they allow shorting because it allows an orderly trading market. You can hedge against your bets and so on and so forth. And it's actually a good thing for institutional investors. But it's not good for individual investors. Don't do it unless you know what the hell you're doing.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Like Howie.
You'll lose a lot of money like
Yeah,
Howie.
fine.
Like, I put it on Devin's paycheck.
Did you?
Hey, can I ask you?
Happy birthday.
I only bet with Mike's
When we
money.
come back, we're going to talk about the bloomin' onions running down the streets of Melbourne.
Nothing like authentic Australian food, man.
But I'll say, no, there's one other thing. Lobster. And it's a sad day. We'll tell you about that. Come back in a bit.
Worst ever.
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks. If we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Welcome to the Big Biz Show, featuring insight, analysis, and a lot of stuff that's none of your business.
Hold on. This is the Big Biz Show. I think it is their business.
Making the markets work for you. Here's the man with the plan, Sully.
Hello there, welcome to the Big Biz Show. Sully here, Costa there, Todoroff there, Mary Bird Godwin there, and look who's on stage. It is the DTC.
Hey.
Is Quattro, Una Dos Tres Quattro spelled with a C or a Q?
I think it's
C-U-A-T-R-O, Quattro.
You're right.
So
You're right.
is it Q or C?
C.
Do you know why I like the DTC? Hey, where's Howie?
DTC?
Just, you can yell in the background. Everybody turn their mics up. Howie, what is, oh, he has a mic up. You've heard of the DTC? The real
Trust
DTC?
Corporation, yep.
The Depository Trust Corporation? Which is what?
It's one of many transfer agents and holders of stock.
The DTC is a clearing firm for stocks.
Yeah.
See how we did that thing?
Look at that.
DTC.
Killing two birds with one bush.
Oh, your favorite.
The year was 1993. When we first saw the bottomless salad bowl, the endless breadsticks, and what I like to call, or what Mike likes to call, couldn't call anyway, we were too frickin' full. Lobster Fest is over.
Who's really sad about this, though?
Mike, what's up?
Here.
What's up? What happened?
There's
Tell us the story.
There's Pearl Harbor. And there's Red Lobster going out of business.
It's right
Wow.
there. Yeah, wow.
It's
So Red Lobby's out of business, huh?
But not all
Like,
of them, right?
I was going to say
Just
all of
some.
them, or just.
I think
but it's
a large portion, perhaps.
And what happened? Why?
well, Greg and I were discussing this earlier. Is it the former or the current?
I think the former CEO or potentially the current CEO
Mr. Endless
did the
Shrimp.
Endless Shrimp. Right.
Endless.
And it
This
turned
was
out.
Endless Shrimp?
Yeah. And
You know, one
and
time I worked at Sizzler.
They had an.
One time, one time I worked at Sizzler. Remember Sizzler?
Oh, yeah.
And they had the Santa Fe steak, and they had the Hawaiian steak, okay? And, and the Santa Fe steak was a steak, and the Hawaiian steak was a burger. Well, I accidentally put the pineapple on the one, and I put the. So, and this is literally my last day. I was a college guy. I was getting out, and somebody said, "Hey, this is wrong." I went like this.
Oh wow!
I just took the pineapple and one on the chili.
How many slices of Texas toast?
I was thinking about how many people would say, "Hey, give me more of them shrimps."
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Oh,
keep,
for
keep
sure.
them.
And now they're out of business.
Yes.
Was that the
They were overwhelmed.
was Red Lobster endless shrimp also?
Yeah.
Yeah, bottomless,
Yeah.
endless.
What's the theme here? Give out endless shrimp. What happens, Mary?
You go out of business.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Bye.
So many people showed up and just destroyed the Red Lobster. And
Is this really what happened?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
They couldn't.
The real story is that they gave away too much food and it killed them?
Yeah.
Right. They just,
They lost. Their losses were in the millions from this all-you-can-eat shrimp.
This reminds
because
me-
They weren't expecting people to eat so much shrimp.
This reminds me of that skit.
I kid you not.
This reminds me of that skit. This reminds me of that skit where it's like, "Hi, my name is Mike Costa from Michael Costa Corporation, and we make change. You have $1, we have 4 quarters. We perhaps have 10 dimes. You know how I can give you 20 nickels.
Yep.
You know how we make money? Volume.
Yep. Right. I'm
You
losing $1
remember
on
that?
every deal, but I'm going to make it up in volume. Right?
That was a Saturday. That was an SNL skit. That was an SNL skit in the '90s, and it was like, we just make change. You have a $20 bill? I give you 21s. People ask us how we make money. Volume.
They would get these land wells that would come in and just sit for hours.
Well,
just
Eat
consume.
the shrimp.
Yeah.
And just
So no, listen.
He
wait, no, wait a
knows.
second.
He knows from personal
I
experience.
remember as a
actually.
kid. There was a place here in San Diego where we broadcast from, and I know that doesn't mean anything. It's called Sir George's.
Oh, smorgasbord.
Sir George's Smorgasbord. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if you walk in a restaurant that has all, you serve yourself, it was called, in some land, a smorgasbord.
It's German.
Oh,
I was gonna say
well,
it's
thank you.
German, right?
Wait.
You just claimed that. Like, hey, we came up with that.
Wait.
Your last name's Costa. You're
Could be
freaking.
Austrian.
Wait.
You're Costrian. So I remember as a kid.
Smorgasbord.
I remember as a kid going to the smorgasbord.
Oh,
It was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
And as an adult, though, you sort of feel like, let's say you're getting your 30s here, you're not wearing the 34, 32s, now you're wearing the 36, 32s. You got the kids, and you're walking in there, and you're like, as you're elbow deep into the macaroni and cheese, right? Or the Salisbury steak.
It's never good.
Oh, wait a second.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, hold the phone there, Missy.
When chocolate pudding is an item at Sir George's, it's good.
Oh, chocolate pudding, maybe.
Did you ever go to a hometown buffet?
Absolutely.
Did you really?
Soup plantation was our jam.
I remember the one time I went to hometown buffet as a kid, and that was when I had little kids.
Yeah.
And we went in there because listen, you drag kids, and if you drag in a place like that, like Soup Plantation or all those places, it's fine because everybody else is there, and there's like
Totally.
I remember trying to eat healthy one time, and I thought I'd go get the fish. That wasn't not the non-breaded fish, the one that's floating in about
I have
ate
shivers.
the water that's a little butter stick yellow with the water.
It was carp.
Yeah. No. You mean the national fish of Germany?
No. What does a carp eat?
Was that
everything any other fish doesn't eat.
No, it was what's the other one?
Tilapia?
Tilapia.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But I remember going through there thinking to myself, if you are 1 pound overweight, you can't walk in that place. You can walk in there looking like Greg's like, hey, come on, give me a big pile of the ribs and a big pile of chocolate pudding and some tapioca for dipping.
You can eat the kale that they use for like decoration and garnish. That's what you wait a second.
Are we moving to that story? Do you remember the scene in it's maybe Tom Hanks owns a bookstore, falls in love with Meg Ryan, the little
Oh, You've Got Mail?
No, that was You've Got Mail. That was a different movie.
Oh,
it was in Seattle. Yeah. No, the one where he owns Fox Books and she owns a little bookshop on the corner.
I thought that was You Got Mail.
No, dude, that was a different movie.
Deliverance.
My point is, there was a scene when they didn't get along. There was a scene there at a dinner party, and he just took his spoon and took all the caviar around the thing. Now, the first TV show, the reason I'm going through this is because of the all-you-can-eat thing.
Yeah.
The first TV show that we learned about the double dip, you double dipped, was
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you've ever done at one of those hometown buffets? Because you've all been there. I mean, you've eaten from the thing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Only because those guys were standing right behind you in line.
Hey, you got to make sure the gravy is good. Hello.
Can I tell you one of my favorite things in the world, and I don't eat.
Not to mention walking makes you hungry.
Listen, I can't. I'm burning calories here, man.
Hold on. I'm lightheaded.
I have to tell you. I don't. Did you just snort?
I'm sorry.
That was real.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, do you know what he was snorting? The rest of the shrimp. Put his face there. I understand what you're saying though, because I don't. There's not enough ribs in my lifetime. I don't eat ribs anymore, but barbecue ribs are my thing. It's like my favorite thing in the world. I don't think I could walk by a rib without going.
Beef or pork?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, doesn't matter.
And maybe it's just a delivery device for the barbecue
perfect
sauce.
answer. That is the perfect answer.
As long as it's
doesn't
ribs.
matter.
All right.
As long as there's a rib bone involved.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you lost your Red Lobster. When's the last time you went to Red Lobster?
Oh, it has to be like 20 years ago, but still anyhow.
But the memory lingers.
But the memory
doesn't
of
it?
it, no, we went recently, like in the last 10 years, for all-you-can-eat shrimp, bottomless shrimp, yeah.
Of course. You know who's happy about it? The shrimp.
The ocean called the running out of shrimp. Oh my God.
I gotta tell you. Big quiz. Who's gonna take its place?
Oh, that's a great question.
Big Biz Show. More to come. Stand by.
Food Plantation went out of business.
It is the Big Biz Show, live from the Loft 100 studios, sunny Southern California. Over 175 countries and all the ships at sea. To our men and women of the United States Armed Forces, we love you. Thank you for what you do. Costa, Mary Godwin, Greg Todoroff, and Sully.
You know, talking about military, and God bless our military men and women who serve our country overseas and underway. We have Mike Taylor in studio today. Mike Taylor, of course, is our investment banking expert. But I want to talk about something that I know he wants to talk about, and that is, we interview NRX Pharmaceuticals. In fact, they'll be on the air with us for the next several months because we're going to follow their project. But they talk about suicidal ideation. They talk about ketamine. And I hear you say American Forces Radio Network and Television Services, otherwise known as AFARTS in the old days, now called AFN. You talk about veteran suicide.
Yeesh.
And
how many a day?
And Mike and I were talking about making sort of, talking about deal structure and what do you do? There's ways to structure a deal, and then give us an example. And we were talking off air about NRX Pharmaceuticals, and one of their subsidiaries would be attractive for the reasons because it's not only it's attractive, but it's also doing good. So Mike, welcome to the program once again. You have always said to me, and you and I have been friends and colleagues for many years. There's a number of ways you can skin a cat. There's a number of ways investment banking deals get done. And for you to be able to see a combination of opportunity and good and tax benefit and an exit multiple. Exit multiple means you put in $1 hoping to get 10x when somebody buys it, right? Or I'll take 2x. In fact, I'll take return of investment as well as return on investment sometimes. Talk about that when you're talking about a deal, about how viable the deal is, the tax benefit, the multiple, and the fact that it's doing good. When we were talking off air, in any deal, not specific yet, but in any deal, if you could find that, it's a unicorn, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think that in investment banking, we're always looking at the viability of the company. Our investors are going to put money into the company. We want to know that they have a business plan they can execute on, ultimately return our capital, but also potentially a return there. It's very rare, unfortunately, that a lot of the projects that we want to invest in or that we think are doing good or for the greater good oftentimes don't have a great return. So we get stuck in this endless loop. But I think in the case, as we were discussing, NRX is really that perfect unicorn where here we have, unfortunately, with suicide being a global issue, we have a very large market.
And I want to, as a disclaimer, I want to talk, we're not talking about investing into the public company. We're talking about a private investment group investing into the business to grow the business. Now that certainly benefits shareholders, but what we're talking about is so I don't want to talk about, I don't want to pretend here that we're talking about investors investing into a public shares. We're talking about a PIPE, basically, which is a private investment into public entity. Is that how that works? So a PIPE is when you have a public company and they're raising money to expand their business. Business do it all the time, especially biotechs, because that biotech is almost like investing in a venture capital firm because it's a long soak for 7 years, typically, because of the FDA. When you look at something like that for a private investor, now keep in mind, we're not talking about $1 million here. We're talking about 20 to 150 million if you have to fund a phase 3 clinical trial or phase 2. So you really do have to find that, so it's that unicorn, as you say. And we were talking about this, like how impossible is that? Well, when you have a company that has come upon an opportunity, and the opportunity we're talking about, NRX Pharma has a subsidiary called Hope Pharmaceuticals. Is that what it's called? If I'm not mistaken, I think it's called Hope. And the drug HTX 100, which is a suicidal ideation drug for ketamine, all right, makes this thing attractive. Now, are investors really concerned about doing good, or are they just concerned about the viability, the tax benefit, and the exit multiple? Are they really concerned about it?
Yeah, I think a lot of investors are. I think that's become more of an issue now, where they want to be involved in philanthropic or bettering humanity on a whole. But of course, they are looking to get a certain return. Right?
So when you're I can imagine you would cross the pitch table as an investor, or you're investing yourself. You're saying, okay, look, at Hope's drug HTX 100 is the only drug that's effective with suicidal ideation versus, I think Dr. Javitt always says, electrotherapy, electroshock therapy, if I'm not mistaken. And it's affordable, and so on and so forth. So that goes to the viability of the deal.
Right.
Makes it bigger, better, faster, stronger, cheaper, whatever than the other guys that are going. Talk about the tax benefit thing, because in my mind, if you try to wire money, if you're a citizen of certain countries, and you try to wire money in the U.S., they tax you on it. You can't just move money out. So one of the ways to do is investing into companies in the U.S. And is that the tax benefit side of it? Can you explain that a bit?
Yeah. So the NRX is really kind of the perfect storm to take advantage of all of these, the three things we're always looking for, right? Viability of the business, potential return, but also having a great tax benefit. So the way that NRX is structured and is the evolution of the company is set up is we're taking advantage of some opportunity zones around the United States to set up ketamine clinics.
Is it easy for you to lead with the ledger part of your brain and also your heart as you're looking at any deals and trying to avoid the looking like Montgomery Burns and just, 10,000 people are going to lose their jobs and all these people are going to lose their houses, but I am going to make a stack of coin. Is it easy for you?
It's deal by deal. But obviously, when NRX was first presented to me, not only was I excited, but I'm honored to be a part of the process here, because it is truly changing humanity. NRX has really the only drug on the market that is dealing directly with suicidal.
We're talking about 3.5 million adults made a plan to commit suicide in 2021. Wow. And 1.7 million people attempted suicide in the U.S. One death every 11 minutes. Think about that. And again, I want to make it very clear what we're talking about is Mike, as an investor and a potential investor in any company, is not going in as a shareholder in terms of the public markets. He's going in as a shareholder in terms of the private markets, which is sort of like the varsity team here.
Right.
Not to suggest there's not institutional investing into publicly traded companies, as there is, but this is the big stuff where when you guys go in and do a pipe like that, you get 105 deals a day, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And you have to look for these things. With respect to the fact that what you just said, there's the word only, okay, a superlative. It's the only drug that's effective. Then you can start talking about exit multiples for private investors getting in these deals.
Yeah.
A multiple means I want to put in $1, I want to get $1 plus X.
Yeah.
Okay. With respect to the suicidal ideation, how important is that X factor to juggling the tax benefit, juggling the viability of the deal, and juggling the good? Is it as important? Is the lane right there?
Sure. But I think, to your point, for investors, especially in private pools or family offices, oftentimes it does hit close to home. So, of course, they may have a vested interest, but we're looking at that multiple too, because our investors, our clients, are going to put money into these deals. We want to ensure that there's going to be some sort of a healthy rate of return. And that comes back to the viability of the deal. And again, NRX is really that perfect unicorn, as you mentioned, with all of these things aligning to.
Well, I look at it, I can name. When you guys are looking for unicorns, they're few and far between. I just love the interesting part about it. Next time we talk to you, I want to sit down and talk about this tax benefit thing, because it's very interesting to me how there's a lot of international investment into U.S. companies because of the fact that it's not just the return on investment. It's about the tax plan. Mike Taylor, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Smartest guy I know. Man. All right, much more Big Biz coming up. Stand by. Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
Are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks. If we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
The Big Biz Show rolls on live from the Loft 100 Studios.
Thank you, Bobby.
Sunny Southern California, everybody. Costa, Mary Godwin, Greg Todorov, our executive producer, and of course, Sully.
Thank you, sir. All right, so we just had a great conversation with our investment banking expert, Mike Taylor. Mike Taylor, of course, was talking about that there's several ways to get deals done in the investment banking community. So if you missed his segment, I'm going to recap a little bit. There's a combination, as he said, of opportunity and good. Because he brought up an example, and one of the examples was a company called NRX Pharma that we talk to often. Jonathon Javitt is the CEO, and of course, Hope Therapeutics. So what we thought we would do, surprise, surprise, is bring on our good friend Jonathon Javitt from NRX. He's the founder, director, chief scientific officer of NRX Pharmaceuticals, NRXP. You just gave a great diatribe on how investors see not only the opportunity of the company, but an opportunity of a tax strategy to invest in some of these offshore, not offshore, but other countries. Let's say Mexico, let's say Ireland, let's say Bahamas, can move their money from their country into a company. Dr. Javitt, welcome, sir. Surprise, surprise, your favorite investor is here. Great to see you. And full disclosure, they both knew they were coming on. Dr. Javitt, let's talk about what Mike was talking about, and that's the HTX 100 drug, first of all. And let's talk about also, just for the people that have not heard you or seen you, let's say in Bloomberg EU or Bloomberg Financiero and other countries, give a quick overview of NRX real quick, and let's talk about the merge of the merge of investment banking, raising money, and how these strategies help companies like yours move the needle for their shareholders.
Well, you know, as you know, we're developing some of the first drugs to treat suicidal depression, and there's a $30 billion market out there for antidepressant drugs, all of which are only approved for people who have ordinary depression and don't have active suicidality, because Big Pharma has actually excluded the patients who need these drugs the most. So we're trying to help the people whose only approved treatment today is electroshock therapy.
Wow.
Now, everybody knows that drug development is a risky business. Clinical trials can fail. You can get results you don't expect to get. We got a result last week that was really surprising to us. We found out that, I guess it shouldn't have been surprising if we believed our own laboratory data.
Well, we talked about this last week. It was great news. Recap that.
It was great news, but it could have gone the other way.
But recap it for us, for the folks who didn't listen to you.
So, what we found out is that our drug is as good an antidepressant as the leading antidepressants, but it reduces the risk of the worst side effect of these antidepressants, which is a side effect called akathisia. Akathisia is thought to be the reason that antidepressants cause some people to commit suicide. And there's a warning on every antidepressant sold today that these drugs are associated with a higher risk of suicide. So we were delighted by the finding.
Dr. Javitt, you talked about Big Pharma not being interested or involved with the suicidal tendencies and depression and like that. Very maybe stupid question on my part. Why aren't they?
Well, if you've got 30 million people in the United States who have depression, and 24 million of those people have what's called ordinary major depression, their chance of harming themselves is very low. And they're going to be on antidepressant drugs probably most of their lives. So once you get a customer, you're going to have that customer for life. Then you've got this much smaller group of people who are, actively at risk for suicide. They've got active suicidal ideation. Frequently, they have bipolar depression. It used to be called manic depression, which is a much harder disease to treat. And they're going to be on and off their drug, and they may harm themselves. And if that happens, you have to file reports with the FDA. So if you're a major pharmaceutical company and all you care about is profit, you're going to go after the 27 million people who are never going to hurt themselves.
Right, because you don't want to file that report.
Your whole life.
Yeah, because you don't want to file that report. Mary, you had a quick question?
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to understand the continuum of people that have this, there's, I don't know what term you use, basic depression or kind of low-level depression where they don't feel good.
Plain rap depression?
Well,
Plain rap depression.
I shouldn't have implied that it was basic or low level. There are two kinds of depression. There's major depressive disorder where your life goes between kind of okay and pretty rotten. But that's the spectrum you're on. And in general, those people have a fairly low risk of actually harming themselves. Then there's what's called bipolar depression, or it used to be called manic depression, where your life goes between way too happy. You'll go out and buy a Lamborghini on your credit card, or, hopelessly depressed and you want to jump off a building. And those are the people who are at really high risk of suicide. Think about Robin Williams, Anthony Bourdain, Kate Spade, Margaret Kidder, Matthew Perry. Those are the people who we lose every day to suicide.
Yeah.
So were those, sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to understand, were those folks that you just mentioned, and some of these young teens that are committing suicide or veterans that are committing suicide, were they at one point in that first category that you talked about, and then at some point something triggers them to then send them to this next category?
No, probably they're completely different diseases and they're affected by different receptors in the brain. Now, people with bipolar depression may initially be misdiagnosed as having major depressive disorder because nobody has seen them in a manic phase. But they're really different diseases. Certainly psychiatrists classify them as different diseases. FDA thinks of them as different diseases, even though both of those diseases may have a depressive phase.
Excellent. Hey, so Mike, I want to redirect back to you because you were talking about this in the last segment but you have, you're looking for a number of things when you're looking as an investor or for investors, and that is the efficacy of a deal. Does it make sense for the investors in terms of an investment banking case for either a tax benefit for the investor, but there's also the idea behind the real company you're investing in, which is the meat and potatoes, which is why you brought this up, and Hope and NRX. Talk about how important that is, what he's talking about, when an investor like yourself or one you're representing is looking at a deal, because they're not just looking at numbers anymore, are they?
Right. Yeah, I think as an investment banker, you're always, you're looking for deals that you can be excited about or you can have a positive impact, and that doesn't always happen. But in the case of Hope Therapeutics, this is a wonderful deal because, one, it's a global issue. It's a global societal issue. So we look at our veterans to Dr. Javitt pointed out celebrities.
Sure.
This is a major issue globally.
Well, and the interesting part of this thing. So that's the meat and potatoes of the deal, and that gives that is the thing they're investing in. But you used in your segment when you were by yourself the fact that this is a very investable deal because there's a couple of benefits to the investor, and not just the tax benefit. It's the fact that there's the fact they're saving lives, and suddenly, you create something like that, and there is the grotesque thing to talk about here is there is a number, there's a profit number there if they got this right? And that's part of the decision, right?
Yeah. So I think looking at this from a banking standpoint, unfortunately, there's a very large market for this, and Dr. Javitt and his team, and the work that they're doing, we see a lot of upside in his company and what he's doing. So as an investor, you're looking at this saying, hey, I can really do something good for humanity by investing in this deal. It's something I care about, possibility for huge returns, and the way we have it structured.
I think the two of you guys, I think Dr. Javitt, and we're short on time here because we've got other guests, but long story short is, I think we got to get both of you guys in the studio at the same time to talk about the inception of the business, how you got pitched on the deal, how you guys are structuring this deal to include NRX, Hope Therapeutics, and potentially another company to purchase, and then how it all turns out for the investor. Very, 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 very interesting. Dr. Jonathon Javitt, founder, director, chief scientific officer from NRX Pharmaceuticals.
Big Biz Show. It's sunny Southern California from the beautiful Loft 100 studios.
Little Stevie on the air for everybody. 98KSJ here. Costa and Sully.
5 after 1, 105, 55 minutes before 2 on a beautiful day in America's finest city.
Looking behind the sky, traffic's wide open. Coming up.
Traffic on the 5s.
Coming up on a Wednesday. Which was I slept in my car Tuesday.
Have you done the traffic before?
Have I
ever do traffic?
No.
No, God, no.
Do you know who used to do our traffic? Do you know who did our traffic when we did a show together for golf? Little Jimmy Rome did our traffic report.
Oh my God, that's right. That's right. Jim Rome used to do the traffic.
That was big Jim.
Yeah, Jim Rome.
Have you ever seen a traffic monitor? What that looks like?
No.
You're reading. It's like being an air traffic controller. Yeah, it's just number of the freeway, whatever it is, and all these abbreviations.
The gibberish.
You know, we were talking about Red Lobster Saturday Night Live, and Smorgasbord and stuff.
Sir
like
George's.
It's Sir George's, and of course, you know, we talk a lot about food on this program. You realize that, don't you?
It's food. Well, food is social. It's family. It's
we left this. What will take the place of the Smorgasbord, the hometown buffet, the Red Lobster all-you-can-eat shrimps, the Sizzler? No, do you know what I say? Listen, I worked at Sizzler.
Yeah.
And this one dude, I swear he played for the Vikings.
Oh.
And he was like from Alabama. Keep them shrimps coming. And I was like, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Here's another pile of
how much money do we lose
bay
today?
shrimp.
Bay shrimp.
You know the little tiny shrimp that like,
yes. Yeah.
But is there a restaurant in town? So what is the? So I remember when my kids were 4 or 5, Soup Plantation, Hometown Buffet.
Yeah.
Coco's.
I don't think
Bob's Big Boy was a big one.
Choco's, because they're out of business.
Yeah.
Mary and I have talked about their salad dressing before.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
So good.
What restaurants exist now? Outback Steakhouse, of course, is a sponsor. What other restaurants exist like that? Like family restaurants that you go out.
You can eat.
Like when I was a kid, there was a place called Sheldon's. There's a place called Sheldon's in Pacific Beach. It was like one of those things they had. You could get, you know, a Salisbury steak or a Swiss steak or Swedish meatballs.
Yes.
Or, you know, kebabs or chicken croquettes. You know, it was all that, you know, the whole thing there, and everything was like ice cream scoop for the mashed potatoes.
Well, they still have like Applebee's around.
Well, so those.
I think those still exist.
Is Olive Garden still exist?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought Olive Garden and Red Lobster were the same company. No.
Oh, they
both have bottomless salad and they both have breadsticks. Let's roll over.
But I don't think Applebee's is a buffet. It's just
maybe
from
not
a hard menu.
What is the macaroni grill thing called? Remember that one?
Macaroni grill. Oh,
Carrabba's?
It was called, no.
Marco's is like a pizza all-you-can-eat buffet.
Wait a minute.
What?
I just realized something. My dear old Uncle Jim, God rest his soul, his favorite place to eat was Kentucky Fried Chicken. However, there is a Kentucky Fried Chicken in Barstow, California.
Okay.
That is a smorgasbord Kentucky Fried Chicken.
No way.
Oh, way. We got to send a camera crew. Devin, what do you think?
Hold on.
We got to go out to, I mean, could you, listen, I don't care how healthy you are.
No.
A piece of original recipe Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yes.
Dipped in gravy.
So
yes.
Well, let's not forget extra crispy.
Yes. Yeah. No, original recipe. Original recipe, all day long original recipe.
Endless mashed
Remember
potatoes.
Boston Market? I think that's a thing now. It was like you could get turkey and mashed potatoes, get your like
Stuffing.
Thanksgiving Day.
No, that was the entree to the gourmet fast food.
Yes,
Because you'd
it
go
was.
there
Yes, it was.
and they had
Yes, it
whipped potatoes.
Yes.
They had sweet potatoes. They had cream
You
spinach.
thought it was? I thought it was healthy. I
Well,
thought it was like.
well,
diet
no, excuse
when
me.
I went there.
No, the biggest,
It's not.
the biggest ruse of all time was when let's go to Soup Plantation.
Yeah.
Because that's healthy.
And then I'd pile on the ranch.
Oh my God!
And
It's not even the dressing. Forget
It's all the accoutrement.
the blueberry muffins. Do you remember the blue?
The size
I would
of
walk out
Mike's
with
head.
like 10 in my pocket.
The size of Mike's head.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
So
the word muffin top.
The focaccia bread.
The word muffin top, like the thing was actually Mike's waistline. And then, like the bottom line, they had
warm
and then of course they had
the 12 cups of honey whipped butter.
Yes, the honey whipped butter.
The self-serve.
When there's a
Yogurt.
when there's a serving spoon that's this big, and you're going into the peach cobbler, right? When you have to go like this to it because they get the whole,
If you go to Soup Plantation and literally just throw lettuce on your plate and then go eat it at your booth, then Soup Plantation is healthy.
Yeah. No one's ever done that.
Nobody does.
So here's the real question before we get out of here today. We got a few minutes to talk about this. Do you think that it'll ever go back to the fact that it's okay to eat like that? Because right now it's not de rigueur into the daily lifestyle because we wouldn't want to appear unhealthy. You realize that no one has ever gone to McDonald's. It's like you walk in.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I'm not eating here. I'm just here to meet a stripper.
I just like their iced tea.
Like listen, I'm just using the ATM.
I like their iced coffee.
No, but the point is that listen, we're all people eat at McDonald's, but nobody wants to admit they eat at McDonald's.
Oh.
I think people want to eat at those places still.
Yeah.
But they don't want to admit that to people.
Right.
So do you think we'll get back to the point where come on, we're Gravy Incorporated, all you can eat, come on in.
As soon as San Diego gets a Golden Corral, I'm there. I am absolutely
I don't think.
there.
Well,
Do
California.
you think the days of Golden Corral are short? Do you think they'll be here for a long time?
No, there's a lot of them across the country.
I think just like stocks and the Elliott Wave principle and everything, I think things are going to. I think it'll come back to the point where we don't care what people think. I'm going to dip my head in the freaking mashed potato thing, and then I'm going to go sit in my right.
But they're going to make it healthier. They're gonna have grilled chicken breast.
But what if they don't? What if they don't? I think that people's mores and people's views are going to change to the point where I don't care what you eat. Go do your own thing. I mean, I'm going to shame you for shaming me for eating it at Hometown Buffet.
We shame each other for doing just about anything.
And we do.
Yeah.
Like I said.
Yeah, but if you go to Hometown Buffet or whatever buffet it is, you're with like-minded people.
Okay,
there was nobody in there that's ashamed.
That's true.
Here's the
Welcome to the family.
Here is the definitive
like an
question.
AA meeting.
Here's the definitive question. The definitive question. Would you be okay with your friends seeing you at the drive-thru at McDonald's?
Yeah.
Oh,
I would say I'm just here for the Diet Coke. I would say that. I wouldn't say that, but I would
getting
say
a wrap.
I'd use Diet Coke
So
or
you'd
Diet coffee.
would you be okay getting caught?
Hell yes.
What about you?
Yeah, I'd go.
I would go to In-N-Out before McDonald's.
I'm talking about McDonald's. McDonald's is wonderful food. Everybody eats there. I'm just wondering, would you guys ever feel ashamed for being at a drive-thru? I know James eats so much red meat.
Yeah.
He's so healthy.
But I mean, I think there is a stigma to us shaming people, but I think it's coming back. Mike, I think it's coming back.
It's like getting caught coming out of a
I know that you're lamenting Red Lobster, but I'll tell you what, bud, there'll be something else coming back. There'll be an all-you-can-eat.
What about Arby's?
All-you-can-eat baby back ribs. Beef ribs are cheap. Sure.
You know what's popular?
I love Arby's.
Some idiot made a business out of eating chicken wings, whatever they threw
Wingstop.
away
That's what
back
I
in the
was
60s.
Yeah, right.
My kid's favorite place is Wingstop. You cannot get her away
amazing.
from Wingstop.
Thanks, Mary. This brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings for X Big News Show. See you tomorrow.
Okay, one.